No 80s or 90s kid can say they did not at one time watch Friends or find time to binge watch it years after its last season. Friends can be said to be one of the greatest sitcoms ever made. It might even make the bold move to sit on the throne of sitcoms across the ages. During its run, we saw 6 friends enjoy their time together with many funny antics and hilarious shenanigans. The show also served as a staging ground for some actors' careers, and they have gone on to live life in the spotlight. One of these actors is Matthew Perry. Matthew played the character of Chandler Bing in Friends, and has gone on to act in other movies and shows, including Fools Rush In, Cougar Town, and The Odd Couple. While Matthew often plays a happy and fun character, and is often seen with a smile on screen and at interviews, his life behind the scenes wasn't so colorful. Today we will look at the life of Matthew Perry and how he overcame depression and survived a life-threatening situation. Childhood. One thing that remains true for most actors and actresses is that their childhood encounters shape how they turn out down the line. Well, this might have also been the case for Matthew Langford Perry. He was born on the 19th of August 1969 in Williamstown, Massachusetts, to Suzanne Marie Morrison and John Bennett Perry. His mother is a Canadian journalist and served as a former press secretary to former Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. His father is an American actor and former model. He apparently had his father's penchant for acting, as he would later walk the path of an actor. The relationship between his parents was tumultuous, and before he became 1 year old, they parted ways. His mother went on to marry Keith Morrison, a broadcast journalist who was born and raised in Canada. Perry was raised in Ottawa, Canada by his mom, attending the Rockcliffe Park Public School and Ashbury College. At Rockcliffe Park, he was classmates with the current Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. Growing up with his mother, Perry developed an interest in tennis, and he became so invested in the sport that he became a top-ranked junior tennis player. This did not stop when he moved to Los Angeles at 15 to stay with his father. Rather, he added a new field of interest, acting. In Los Angeles, he attended the Buckley School in Sherman Oaks, and while there, he participated in several high school stage productions. He even took a shot at improvisational comedy while still in high school. These things did not dissuade him from pursuing tennis, his first love, and he continued to play, eventually ranking 17th in the nation for junior singles and 3rd for junior doubles. Acting professionally. The role of Chaz Russell in the television series Second Chances launched his acting career almost immediately after he graduated from high school. The title of the television series was changed to Boys Will Be Boys after the 13th episode, and the show's emphasis shifted to place more of a spotlight on the exploits of Chaz and his companions. Following the conclusion of the show's sole season, Perry was cast in his first film part, which came the following year in the movie A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon. A year later, he appeared in the popular television series Growing Pains for a 3-episode arc in which he portrayed the part of Sandy, the lover of Carol Severs, who passed away as the result of an accident caused by drunk driving. If only he had known how dangerously close he would come to losing his life to drugs and alcohol years later. After his role in Growing Pains, he featured in the CBS sitcom Sydney as the younger brother of Valerie Bertinelli. He made a guest appearance on Beverly Hills 90210 as Roger Azarian. He starred in Home Free, an ABC sitcom, but it only lasted 11 episodes, ending in the spring of 1993, after which he was supposed to play on the sitcom Lax 2194. Getting the role of Chandler Bing. When Matthew Perry tried out for the role of Chandler Bing on Friends in 1994, he had no idea that this would be the defining event of his acting career. The fact that he was cast in the part of Chandler Bing catapulted him to superstardom and was instrumental in his amassing vast wealth. However, another candidate was almost selected for the role. Before getting the role of Chandler in Friends, Perry had come across the script for the show and had taken an interest in it. Back then, the name of the show was not Friends yet. Rather, there were still 2 working titles. Some key cast members tried out for the show back when it was known as 6 of 1, and others did so when it was dubbed Friends Like Us. Looking at the script for the show, Perry wondered how a script had taken so much of what seemed like his kind of jokes and put it together into the script. He took a liking to the character of Chandler. At some point, people began to see the similarities between his character and that of Chandler. Actors auditioning for the character began to meet him to practice, and Perry helped as much as he could, gradually learning the scripts too. He later decided to go for the audition and was a perfect fit for Chandler. He had also worked with Marta Kaufman before. All seemed to be going as planned, except for the fact that another project was keeping Perry preoccupied. Perry had landed the lead role for a pilot show titled LX 2194, and he couldn't move to another show due to his contract with LX 2194. In an unexpected turn of events, Fox did not pick the series, and Perry was now free to take on the role of Chandler. The rest, they say, is history. The terrible dark secret. While Perry had secured the role of Chandler in Friends and was poised to play the role well, there was going to be a problem: addictions. In an interview, Matthew Perry confessed that throughout the run of Friends, he was only completely sober for one season. But the problem did not start on the set of Friends. Rather, we would have to go back to when Perry was just 14 years old. He started with a bottle of alcohol on a night like every other. He was hanging out with friends when he downed a bottle of wine. Before that day, he had never drank before, but after he finished the bottle, he had a feeling about himself and thought that that was how normal people felt. In a way, he had been lonely and sad, probably because he didn't have a father in his life at the time. Gradually, he turned to the bottle and a desire for fame, and by 18, he was already drinking every day. He didn't let this have too strong an effect on his acting in Friends, as he committed never to be high or drunk on set. But he almost always came on set with a bad hangover. With time though, his fellow actors and the people on set began to worry. Perry's addiction to drugs started long after he started drinking. He was filming the movie Fools Rush In when he was involved in a skiing accident in 1997. He got a prescription drug, Vicodin, hydrocodone/acetaminophen, and unlike his experience with alcohol, where he finally felt normal, the drug felt like warm honey entering his veins. Perry was hooked. He confessed in an interview that the past 20 years of his life could have taken a different direction if he had not gotten the first dose of the drug. Worsening addiction. Sadly, he did not stop at Vicodin. Soon, he was abusing prescription medicines. As his drug issue escalated, the actor stated he was eventually taking 55 Vicodin tablets every day. He stated his body had developed a tolerance to the tablets to the point that he had to take increasingly large doses to prevent withdrawal. He would often make up injuries or migraines as an excuse to visit the doctor and get his hands on some medication. He was admitted to the hospital in 2000 because of pancreatitis brought on by alcoholism. Perry's addiction became much more apparent and a growing concern for fans and fellow cast alike. One of the worst parts of the year 2000 was the time between the end of Friends' 6th season and the start of its 7th. Even though the scenes happened months apart, the beginning of season 7 was meant to be a continuation of a scene from the end of season 6 that happened on the same day. Perry was detoxing during that period, and the difference was quite obvious. Realizing how bad his addiction had become, Perry sought to right his wrong. He knew he had people who cared and were willing to help him get through the situation. So he called for help. Perry asked for assistance with less than 2 weeks remaining to film Serving Sarah in February 2001, and the production was put on hold for the next 2 months. Perry was able to finish Serving Sarah, return to Friends, and better himself after spending 2.5 months at a private rehabilitation center. In 2002, he gave many interviews in which he detailed the steps he took to overcome his addiction and reach a point of stability. In 2013, after years of staying free, he opened a sober house in Malibu for men fighting addictions. After getting help and beating his drug and alcohol addiction, he thinks he has what it takes to help other people do the same. Escaping death by a hair's breadth. Matthew Perry had rehabilitation for quite some time, but the effects of his addiction were dangerous and far-reaching. His digestive system was paralyzed because he had been taking pills for a long time and in large amounts. This was an immediate medical concern. In 2018, Perry had one of the scariest experiences when he was hospitalized due to a perforated bowel. While he was hospitalized, he developed pneumonia and needed to be placed on life support. He said he was the only one to live out of the 5 patients who had been put on life support that same evening. Perry says he came out of his 2-week coma to see his loved ones gathered around his hospital bed. He was never left by himself while he was in the hospital. While he was hospitalized, his family was informed that he only had a 2% chance of survival. As a result, his recovery could now be considered a miracle. Perry went on to have 14 more surgeries after this experience and has estimated that he had to go through detox 65 times during his life and that he had attended rehab 15 times. More recent sighting of Matthew Perry. More recently, he was spotted at the reunion of the cast of Friends, which was delayed due to the pandemic. While his speech was slightly awkward during the reunion, Perry confirmed that it was not because he had relapsed, but rather due to surgery done on his mouth a short while before the reunion. He released a book, his memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. In the book, he chronicled his entire journey, shedding more light on his highs and lows. He is currently free from addiction and helping others battling with addictions too. For more inspiring stories like this, don't forget to like and subscribe.